Welcome to episode 21 of the Inside BJJ podcast. We would just like to remind you that we are sponsored by Kimonos. For quality jiu-jitsu gis, check out mkimonos.com. Also, Jiu-Jitsu Mag for the best jiu-jitsu magazine on the market today. Go to jujitsumag.com. You can also find them on the App Store if you search for Jiu-Jitsu Mag on your Apple iPad device. Also, we really want to thank justgipants.com for all of your gi replacement pants needs, $39.99 for all pairs, and free shipping in the United States and discounted international rates with a 6-month guarantee. If you rip them, they'll replace them. We have a great show lined up for you today. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of rumor and just a gigantic storm of craziness surrounding the 2012 World Jiu-Jitsu Expo. It was to be one of the first in the long line of great events to help promote jiu-jitsu and kind of get it out there and celebrate it as an art and celebrate the pioneers and everybody involved. But, you know, obviously there was a fiasco. If you saw the pay-per-view, you kind of know that there was a problem with the main event. And Cesar Gracie, who is Nick Diaz's manager, he made a statement online, and Braulio followed up, and there was confusion about, you know, why did the match not happen? A promoter was involved named Junior, and Henzo made a statement about Junior and who did what, and you had the mobile black belt team who was responsible for the pay-per-view, and they got kind of lumped in with the promoter, even though they weren't. It was two separate, distinctly separate groups of people. And, you know, it's important that people know mobile black belt had nothing to do with the promoter. They were not aware of what was going down until the very last minute. And so anyway, there's a lot of crazy confusion, a lot of speculation online, a lot of just craziness. And, you know, it's one of those moments where it's hard for people to step back and rationally, you know, give a good analysis about it. It's easy to jump to conclusions. It's easy to run with things. And given the day and age that we live in, everybody's connected, everybody gets everything instantly, it's bound to happen, you know. So I don't really hold any particular media or guerrilla journalist or anybody else at fault, only because that's kind of the nature of the way this works. So if you want to be involved, you have to be out there right on the front lines, putting updates out immediately, all the time. And if you don't do that, then you're not involved. And people will criticize that and say, well, a real journalist or a real news association would vet that information. But the reality is there's not time in the day and age we live in with this type of media for this type of thing to vet every single thing that comes out. There's just not, because if you don't put it out, somebody else will. And whether that's right or wrong, it's just the way that it is. So we're going to have Cesar Gracie and Braulio Estima on the show today, and they're going to basically clear the air and talk about what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and give them a call and work them in, and we will be right back after this word. Hey, this is Tim from the Inside BJJ podcast, just reminding you, if you enjoyed tonight's show, please give us a positive review on iTunes. All of your positive reviews help us tremendously. Also, if you really enjoyed the show, consider giving us a small donation on PayPal. You can go to www.insidebjj.com and click on the donate link. Anything that you donate to us helps us tremendously, obviously. Also, if you're going to buy something on Amazon, support us with a click-through link. Go to insidebjj.com and click on the Amazon banner. If you spend a few dollars, we get a few pennies. Help us out, please. Welcome back to the Inside BJJ podcast. I'm your host, Tim Freeman, and I have on the line with me Cesar Gracie and Braulio Estima. Our fans know, anybody who's familiar with jiu-jitsu and the world of mixed martial arts this weekend, were treated to a spectacular jiu-jitsu event on one hand, but then there was also some ensuing chaos and a gigantic rumor mill and a bunch of he said, she said craziness. And what nobody has done so far is got both these guys together and just let them clear the air, let them talk. And so we want to give both guys a chance to do that, not just so somebody can prove, hey, I'm right, but just for the benefit of jiu-jitsu, right? Just so people understand that, you know, not everybody involved in jiu-jitsu is a crazy, chaotic person. So, guys, I want to start off just quickly by stating this fact, and then Cesar, you could address this any way you want. But there's a lot of confusion online about who's responsible for the issue, and what I mean is, I've seen people say, "Oh, the World Expo people," like as if that's one person. I've seen people say Renzo Gracie. I've seen people say it's the pay-per-view people, the mobile black belt people. It's Junior, and so what I'm trying to do is just make sure that there's some separation, because obviously some folks were involved that really didn't have any responsibility in terms of somebody not showing up. And the people I'm getting at is the people who actually ran the pay-per-view. They kind of got their name dragged through the mud there because people assumed that this was their responsibility. In reality, they were kind of on the side doing a very specific job. And I'm sure that maybe the people who were responsible for some parts of the expo were not also the same people responsible for promoting the event. So I just want to throw that out there, Cesar, and you guys can take it from there. I'm going to sit back, and if I have a question or two, I may chime in.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, as far as if you want me to address the situation about who's who, Mobile Black Belt was a company brought on just to do the production of the filming and everything. They did an outstanding job. They had absolutely no responsibilities in the way of making matchups happen or having people show up or anything like that. They just came in, they did a job for us. I thought they were excellent, professional, and I'm very happy with what they did. Renzo Gracie, despite him having said that, if you want to blame someone, blame me, in respects to himself when he was speaking, no, I don't agree with that. The guy actually saves everything. I mean, we were there. He brought in a crew of just excellent teachers like Ricardo Almeida. He was very fan-friendly, signing autographs the whole time, participating in the seminars and everything. And, it was just a pleasure working with a guy like that. As far as everything else is concerned, I thought pretty much that the reason I wanted to get together and talk was because I'm seeing a lot of this guy saying this guy saying that, but we actually hadn't spoken. Myself or Braulio or our camp had not spoken to each other before the match, so there's a lot of confusion about what's happening here, and it's my understanding that Braulio was told something and we were told something different, so that's why I wanted to clear the air, about weigh-ins, about all that other stuff.
So, Braulio, would you like to, you want to bring up any points or address that?
Well, basically, it was, I don't know what that came around to Cesar's side. I just know that, I was there, I did everything that I was told to, on my point of view, the way that things came across to me was that was going to be a friendly match that was going to be for the good of the expo, for the good of the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, bringing Nick Diaz, which is like an excellent fighter, on the ground. It's going to be there to make the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu go to another level. That's the sport that he loves to be, that he loves to do. And suddenly things just became very restrict as a point that missing, informing the way, there is a few points that I can point afterwards on Cesar's statement that, I can go on and on after, just to clarify. There's a few points that it wasn't exactly how he wrote down, especially about the time that he knew about the weigh-in was, It was at 3:20 a.m. for sure, because I was in a restaurant while I was speaking to Junior, and Junior also has a text message from him on this time as well, telling that he already knew that the weigh-in was going to be at 10 a.m. So there was plenty of time to let us know, And the only frustration that I had, is that I had to give up so many things in my time, over a month. I had my first ever holiday with my whole family. I was in Thailand, and I couldn't enjoy as much as I could because I had to watch my weight. I had to train myself to keep up my gas, And I took it very serious. My professionalism should be there, And I never agreed to weigh in at 175. that as what, I don't know, that Cesar mentioned, I was going to weigh in 175. That's never possible for me in a short notice. Also, the statement about the MMA career and stuff, man, everyone knows that I've been with the Black Zillion for about 4 months now, so it wasn't a new thing, you know. And actually, I got approached by Junior about this fight against Nick Diaz. Actually, was after my camp in the Black Zillions, you know. So I didn't train at Black Zillions after I knew about the fight, you know. So Cesar told that after a week that I agreed to fight, he knew about the Black Zillion, but the Black Zillion is a long old story already. So we have plenty of time to say, you know what, Braulio is interested in MMA, so he's trying to use Nick to get a ride. So he's not going to do this fight. So we have plenty of time to do that.
Okay, let me go ahead and address a couple of those things, if I may. As far as the weigh-ins were concerned, I did get something from Junior before the 3:20. I think I said that at 3:20 a.m. But that was about, well, he can weigh in, but he was talking about 185 pounds. I have the text from him at 3:20 a.m. saying you're going to weigh in at 180 at 10 a.m. Previous to that, he was trying to make it at 185, something that we hadn't agreed on, unless it was right before the match. The 175-pound thing, I have that text also where he said, you could weigh in 175. This is when the match was first set up, and I said, you might be a little bit, on the heavier side for Nick on this one because Nick's not that heavy right now, so I didn't want someone at 200 pounds coming in. And he said, oh, no, you can weigh 175. And I said, I was pretty surprised. Later we said, okay, 180 is fine, but we were trying to do it right before the match. And then it kept changing. With the MMA stuff, it doesn't matter if someone wants to do MMA or not. I mean, pretty much most people do. What Nick didn't want is a spectacle of, he just wanted to compete and have fun with it. He didn't want it for the spectacle of the publicity thing, like, oh, you're going to spring an MMA career. There's a lot of guys trying to do that. And Nick originally just wanted to do the tournament with a gi on, come in and have a tournament and have fun with it. And Junior made it into a super match. And then we said, okay, we can do a super match, but not if it's like a publicity stuff thing. He just wants to really have fun and compete, and the concentration, the focus to be on that, not someone trying to make an MMA career out of it, which I kind of understood. So he was, while he was telling you one thing, he was telling us something different. He was telling me, oh, Braulio's never going to fight. He's not trying to do this as a publicity stunt. He actually told me he doesn't want to live the fighter lifestyle, and he doesn't. So this is strictly a jiu-jitsu thing that's going to be a fun thing. And I would see, lo and behold, on the internet, it was something different.
Are you saying, Cesar, that Junior was the one who told you that?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a bunch of texts and everything where and I think, like I said, I think he's telling Braulio one thing, and I think he's telling us another so that he can maximize the amount of money he's going to make and basically be kind of a shady promoter where he's not just being upfront and honest to both of us. In Braulio's defense, the day of the match that was supposed to occur, I was walking into the gate and I saw Junior and I saw Braulio, and Braulio was complaining to him about, why didn't kind of upset, why didn't you tell me before? I would have waited on Friday, So at that point is when I first realized there's an issue here. There's this guy maybe wasn't telling this guy, Braulio, the truth also about things, and had misinformed him also.
Braulio, is that kind of the experience? I mean, would you? I'm not trying to put anybody under the bus here because I'm a neutral party as much as I can be. So, but is that? Would you agree with that sentiment from Cesar in regards to Junior? Because it sounds like there's a lot of confusion regarding the weight, what the weight was going to be, and when you were going to weigh in. And what I'm hearing, and you guys can correct me, is I'm hearing that maybe you guys were both told different stories in terms of what the weight was going to be and what the time was going to be. Braulio, can you comment on that?
Yep.
Yeah, basically, what came across for about those few days since the way since the Saturday was that there was a date, there was a time, and there was a place that was supposed to be the way in, and that I didn't turn up. You know, it was a little bit there was nothing set up because it was so friendly. You know, things was just like, as long as the fighters are walk around the same kind of way, that's what's going to matter. You know, basically the weight is more to check in that the people are fighting the same kind of weight barrier. You know, and that was my understanding out of it. You know, and like for example, before I actually when I agreed, actually I was in the restaurant ordering my food, and I actually tried to contact Junior, and I said, Junior, what's up? You know, I don't want to do the weigh in even, or what time's going to be on. And then that's when he told me that Cesar wanted me to fight 185 or 180, I don't remember. Just before the fight, I said, well, I didn't agree. That was one of the first things I told to Junior that, listen, I'm not going to be fighting, I'm not going to be weighing just before, you know, because the last competition that I've been doing is like, was the ADCC, you know, and this kind of fight we don't weigh. Just after before the match, we actually one day before. Even though I know even had to weigh in on my super match against Jacare anyway, but I in my mind, and I was very clear that I had to weigh in either 180 on Friday or 185 on the Saturday. That was the approach that I had. You know, with this in mind, I get myself ready, but I haven't heard nobody about the weigh-in on Friday. There was no setup weigh-in, and when I agree when I was in the sushi bar, and then I called you and I said, okay, so in that case, it goes back and forth to Cesar, and then Cesar on the other line said, okay, that's fine. We need to weigh in 180 on the next day. So I already canceled my order on my food. I just got some sashimi stuff, and then I already got ready, and I agreed that I'm going to be going to fight to weigh in tomorrow. On the Saturday at 3 a.m. You know, and then therefore everyone already knew, you know, and so I agree with that. So okay, in that case, let's do 180. I'll make it. You know, I went down the lobby. You know, I spoke to Lana. Lana was there. I made weight. You know, 180. You know, Lana reported to Cesar, reported to Junior, and everything was fine. I even spoke to Cesar about asking if I could see Nick, and then Cesar told me that actually I asked Cesar actually to see Nick weigh in, because there was so much pressure about me putting weight 180. I just wanted to see what weight he is, just to comfort myself for the hard work, you know. And then Cesar said, well, you know, Junior told me that Nick, that you were want to make weight, so Nick to eat. And I said, oh, but how did he have a weigh in last night? They said, well, he was 180, but who saw his weigh in? I said, nobody saw him weigh in from outside of our club, but he ate because Junior told me to him that he could eat, and so he actually won me making 180 this morning. And then in my mind, I already think, okay, fair enough, doesn't matter. So weight is not actually an issue then, because we actually walking around the same weight at the time. Because if he couldn't make 180, that means that he was overweight because he ate the day before. And I was 180, so we pretty much on fire. Let's do it. And I really wanted to take a picture with him because I'm actually, at the time, I was a big fan of him as a fighter. You know, I would like to take a picture to myself. I'd like to get this picture to promote the show. I asked, I don't remember if I speak to Cesar. I don't think it was Cesar. I speak to Lana to speak to Cesar to call Nick so he could come down. And then Nana said, like, I'm going to call his room, but nobody picked up the room. Maybe he's sleeping, whatever, call me later. You know, at this time, this was 10 a.m. in the morning on Saturday, and then the impression that I had that was the fight was going to happen. And then indeed, I saw on the entrance of the expo, just after the weigh-in, I went to the expo, and indeed I saw Cesar talking to Junior, and I was really kind of pissed off of the whole situation because this 180 I could make either on Saturday, or it would be even better for me to do on Friday, so I could actually have more time to rest. You know, actually for me it would be a better benefit to do on Friday. So that's to beat the weight. It wasn't the issue. The issue that I had in terms of the weight was that I didn't agree to weigh in just before the fight. And then I saw Cesar speaking to Junior, and Cesar saw me that I was like complaining about it, what Junior was saying stuff. And at that point, I still, Cesar didn't tell me nothing about that the fight wasn't going to happen either. I was excited about the fight. I was promoting, and then that was my main concern. Because it's just like, imagine if I was going to do a super fight. By the way, I would like just to become very clear about when I mentioned about the fight MMA with Nick Diaz. I was a little bit overhead, I think it's kind of a little bit of over the top for me to come and say that to him. My idea at the time of what I wanted to come across was that if he was all the way around, I would have to show up. That's what I was trying to say, because if that would be a possibility, let's fight Braulio and Nick Diaz, and then I make all this show, make all the thing, and then suddenly the last minute I just don't show up. That would be very disrespectful to Diaz, And then the same way, all the way around, I had all the he's in my world in BJJ, so I have all the responsibility. I'm the champion, in the BJJ, so he is coming to fight against me, and then I come down and made all my training, all my camp, and then I get away so many things of my life. I'm a busy guy, I have things to do, I concentrate myself on this fight, travel all the way with 14 hours in jet lag. I'm the champion in BJJ. Come down and he's actually don't come. After all this, that's my main frustration. I think it's very disrespectful.
So
yeah, if I can answer a little bit. First of all, his account of how things went the day before was very accurate. In the morning, he did make the weight. What he doesn't know, though, is what we're being told. And I know he's the champion, but please understand this. Nick is the draw, and there's no question about that. So what happens with us is, like I said, I've got all the text messages saying Braulio would make 175 at a maximum 180 right before the match. And that's what was presented to us when this first came out. And I know that's not Braulio's fault, but that's what Junior was telling our side. He said, I've got all the text messages. I think I even Twittered some of it a few days ago or something. That, and specifically, look, Braulio will make 175, possibly up to 180 maximum right before the match. And I said okay to that. So if you look at it from Nick's perspective, he's coming into something like that, and then we get the phone call, so he can't do that right before the match now. He's asking if he can, can we do the weigh-ins the day before the match at 180? Which I said, okay. I talked to Nick about that. Nick said, okay. He cut the weight. He lands in Long Beach weighing 180, calling me and said, where do I go weigh in? I want to weigh in. I want to get something to eat, to go hang out, whatever. And I said, hey, bad news. I just got a call from a Junior saying that Braulio will not be weighing in tonight. And then Junior had told me, and I was pissed off. I said, well, what's Nick supposed to do? Just wait till tomorrow, and weigh in the morning at 180 or whatever. He said, no. We just get something to eat. So there was zero weigh-in for Nick except for his scale. And by the way, the scale that Braulio used the next day was actually our scale that Lana brought down and everything. So this organization, the event, there was never any weigh-in. They never had Junior never had a place for these guys to weigh in, which was kind of annoying, And then Nick is cut to 5-6 pounds, whatever he did that day. He shows up after he got kind of jerked around with weigh-ins before the thing, after he does the conceding to weigh in the day before, not right before the match. A bunch of other things that happened also that irritated our whole camp with Junior. And then all of a sudden by the way, Braulio's not going to make weight. And I believe Braulio when he said he would weigh in the day before, because why wouldn't he? He made 180 the day of. And for a guy, it's much easier to weigh in the day before, so it would have been much more comfortable for him. But like I said, Junior was too disorganized, and he was telling him one thing, what he wanted to hear, and he was telling us a completely different thing, maybe what we wanted to hear. And that's where the whole confusion happens. Now, Nick is a professional. He comes down to do this stuff, and it's like, hell, there's no weigh-ins now? Okay, he's feeling like he's getting set up, and he's not about to get set up. So, he decides to leave. He made a lot of mistakes in that. He should have talked with us beforehand, and maybe we could have resolved it. because ultimately I think this thing was for the fans and and I'm a fan of the sport. I would have loved to watch this because Nick is. People don't know how good of a BJJ guy he is, and obviously Braulio is the best guy right now. So I just think it was going to be fun. And you know, we weren't looking for a match for Nick to just come out and beat somebody and look great. It was like, hey, test himself against the best guys, and if he loses, we didn't care. I mean, you know, you care, not too bad, but let's face it, Nick's world is MMA. It's not. He's not doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. It's not the same thing. So it was a fan-friendly thing. And it's like Nick gets tapped out or loses on points or whatever. No one's going to cry about it over here on this side. You know, it's like, whatever. You know, Nick, half the time he's not training jiu-jitsu. He's training jiu-jitsu. He's training boxing. He's training wrestling. He's training all this different stuff. You know, kickboxing. You mentioned the guy's doing it when maybe on the other side a guy trains jiu-jitsu constantly. So we don't have any delusions or anything like that. If they can pull off a great sub, well, awesome. That was fun. And if not, you know, that's the way it goes. But like I said, everything Braulio was being told, it sounds like, you know, he described it very accurately the way things did happen, but we were being told something completely different. Now that's where the disrespect and everything came in. When Nick came into a certain thing, he okay, this is how it was presented to him, and it didn't happen. He didn't do the match. Subsequently, when Nick pulled out or didn't show up, the day of, you know, there was a couple of guys there ready to go right away. You know, I had a guy, an excellent grappler, Jay Manley, was there ready to go. I heard Robert Drysdale. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I heard he was ready to go.
I think that was a rumor, actually. Was it a rumor? Yeah, that was a rumor. He was actually translating to the crowd, and for some reason, we got bad information on the pay-per-view broadcast that he was offering to fill in, and so that kind of got out there. But yeah, we got to squash that one.
Yeah, okay, but whatever. There was other guys there ready. I had a phone call. Hey, man, I'm ready to go. A guy that also competed in Abu Dhabi that had been very good with Andre Galvan. It could maybe save the show even, like, hey, let's do this. You know, Nick's not here, but I'm going to step up. But, you know, I'm not criticizing. It's just I was told, Braulio said no. I came here to go against Nick Diaz, and that's what – and now I'm not going to go against this guy, Jason Manley, because of that. Because this is what I expected. What I expected didn't happen. I'm not going to do it. And on the other hand, that's what happened with Nick. Well, he came down. He expected a certain type of win. He expected this, expected that, you know, and it didn't happen. And he said, okay, I'm out. He gave his money to charity anyways. That was his whole purse that was going to be donated. Well, he said, okay, the charity's not going to suffer, but I'm not going to take part of the circus. It's not being professionally ran. And I think that's ultimately what happened. And I really think, you know, it wasn't Hamza's fault. I don't think it was Braulio's fault. If you want to blame somebody, maybe you can blame me a little bit. Maybe there's stuff I could have done better. I don't know. But Nick definitely could have communicated better, and we could have, you know. But ultimately, I think it's the organizer of the event that really messed things up this time.
But Cesar, why you didn't tell me that he wasn't going to show up, as you knew since the whole day we tried? You just found out about the last minute.
Okay, good question. I didn't know. I had no idea. See, everybody assumed Nick was up in his room. That's the part where I wrote in my article about him not being excusable that he didn't communicate with me or his team. We did know Nick had left. Nick is, you know, he does things on his own timing. He makes a decision, and he doesn't really talk to people about it. It's something that needs to be fixed. But so I didn't know Nick wasn't there. Nobody knew. I didn't know till, you know, the match approached, and I was trying to get a hold of Nick, and I couldn't. And the reason I wasn't there at the match is because I'd gone back to the hotel to find him, and that was it. So I would have told you. I wouldn't have let, you know, I would have told the event. I would have let our fans know if I would have known, but I never knew. The last time I spoke to Nick was the night before.
And so he did give away the purse that he got because I don't even got paid.
Yeah, see, you didn't even get paid, exactly. Well, Nick didn't get paid either, and there was some other, you know, I don't think Enzo's been paid, to be honest with you. I was supposed to get a percentage of the thing because I set up the whole mobile black belt. I got the, you know, not Nick's match, obviously, but also Kira with, you know, Alexis Davis, who's now training at my school, Coyote, I brought in the sponsors, Metal Militia, you name it. And for that, I was promised, oh, man, we need help with this. We need help, is what Junior told me. We'll give you this percentage. You'll come in as a small partner of this thing if you do all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, Nick didn't show up, you know. And then Henzo still hasn't been paid. He's still looking for Junior. And I mean, I'm sure the pressure is going to be so thick on Junior pretty soon. He's going to have to pay Henzo. And you haven't been paid. You know, this is all the stuff that, you know, it's ridiculous. They need to pay you. You know what I mean?
We're gonna put out this. It's gonna be this week. It's gonna be the transfer. I just wonder how that if Nick pays the child goes for his own pocket. That's also my question.
Yes, he paid it out of his own pocket. Exactly. As a matter of fact, a reporter contacted me. I want to say Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and I actually took a picture of all the St. Jude's payment and everything and sent it over to him. So, yeah, he paid it out of pocket, out of his, he goes probably.
I understand exactly what you meant. Okay, I see your points on that and everything. And what can we do? Would that be possible so we can organize this fight to happen somehow in a more professional way? Because the fans really would like to see this fight.
Yeah, so I want to. Can I just ask?
I would love to see it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's definitely a question. That was the question that I wanted to ask you both. Would you be willing, Braulio and Cesar, if you could talk to Nick? Obviously, you gotta deal with him on this, but would you guys be willing to do this at, say, an event like Gracie Worlds coming up in July, where you have a venue to do super fights? Would you be willing to do something like that?
I would. I don't know on Braulio's part. I think we owe the fans something. I don't. You know, a lot of people came out to see this. It was a disappointment. My roots are in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's what I love. You know, Henzo's my brother. You know, we're cousins, but we grew up together, so, you know, and everything with about the same age. It hurt me, you know, because I saw the crowd. They were so friendly and everything like that, and this type of thing. And Braulio, I don't know him personally, but I'm sure he's a very good guy. Everything. You know, he's a fan of Nick's fighting style. Well, you know, obviously I'm a fan of great jiu-jitsu, and Braulio's been tapping everybody out, and I'd love to see that too. So, you know, I definitely like to see the guy roll and everything. Yeah, no, on my part, it's something I would definitely talk to Nick and make it happen. Right now, Nick is dealing with all this NSAC stuff, and it's like they're coming at him double-barreled because he had the audacity to challenge them in court and everything, and to say no and get a lawyer, and they're not used to doing that, so they're coming at this guy crazy. And we got to deal with that stuff and make sure his head's right and everything. But I would love to see, I'm sure he would do it in the future, but it wouldn't involve Junior. It just wouldn't. He just wants to be respected. Someone that say, hey, this is the rules, this is what's going to happen, you know, and just treat the guy with some respect and everything, and then it would happen. And the same part, I'm sure, on Braulio's side also. And, yeah, but just we wouldn't be able to work with a guy like Junior. Now, Henzo or someone else, absolutely.
So that's fantastic. And the reason why that's fantastic is, you know, everybody was disappointed because in reality, you know, the expo was a great thing and it was good for jiu-jitsu. And I really hope that Henzo and Cesar and whoever else is involved, probably minus Junior, would be willing to be involved in another expo, because I think that's a great start. But in reality, everybody was there to see Nick Diaz versus Braulio Estima. And you're right, the matches were friendly, and there were no weigh-ins for anybody else, and it was friendly. And, you know, like Coyote gave up a considerable amount of weight to Jeff Glover. The same thing with Lucas Leach. He gave up weight to Rafael Lovato Jr. So, you know, it was on a friendly level, but at the same time, everybody was there to see that final match. And when it didn't happen, it was super disappointing for the people that were there. And then all the people that paid $10 to watch it on pay-per-view, you know, they kind of felt like, dang, you know, we got robbed on this, even though they got to watch some great jiu-jitsu, but, you know, they really wanted to see Nick Diaz versus Braulio Estima. And if that could be set up, I mean, that's like putting a bow on a perfect package now.
Yeah, no, definitely. As far as the expos, I talked to my cousin Henzo, and he thought it was a great idea to continue doing stuff like that, just because it was, you know, like I said, he brought in all these guys, the free seminars, the fans just were so great and everything, and that it was kind of brought in the BJJ community. The one thing I really enjoyed too and I've been saying this, is that jiu-jitsu needs a professional league. And that's what we've been talking about. Every sport in the world has a professional league, tennis, golf, whatever, where the best guys actually get paid.
Yeah.
Not just, right now, jiu-jitsu, the best guys have to go compete in the worlds or whatever. They have to pay to get in.
Yeah.
They're not getting paid. And it's like silly. It's like, these are professional athletes. These guys are at the top, it's hard. It's hard. It'd be nice to see an actual league of professionals and they get paid, and the fans, would support that and everything. And that's the idea behind this. And I don't think Hamzo, myself, and others are going to allow this hiccup to stop that. Is what I'm thinking.
That's great news. And I could tell just from talking to athletes and talking to fans on the podcast and in general that everybody wants to see the athletes get paid. That's a huge deal. The fact that these guys are training just as hard as any other professional athlete in any other sport. They're making the same sacrifices, and there's no monetary return attached to it directly for winning. Now, they might get seminars, they might get some fame as a byproduct from it, but actually winning an event, there's nothing attached to it. And some kind of professional setup or professional purse or professional league where these guys can be recognized with some money for what they're doing is just going to make it even better. So,
yeah, right on. So, Braulio, if we can get that together in the future, are you up for it? Sorry, sir? If we can put that together in the future, a match with you and Nick still in the future for the fans, are you up for it?
Of course, that would be amazing, That would be amazing. And it would be also good as well to hear Nick as well, to come to the public and say everything, because it's good for the athlete to go in and say, listen, guys, I did this, and I act this without thinking. That's what happened. That's how I felt, and because it's very important for the people to see his point of view as well. Because I'm stepping up, to be there. I was the one that I was, there, and then I felt like by him leaving, I without even letting you know, was a little bit kind of out of order. Maybe if he could come and say, listen, guys, we're going to go for this time for real. Listen, people hear from him. Because otherwise people won't believe that you're going to be there.
Yeah, no, we don't have anything set up now. In the future, if it does happen, we'll definitely have Nick together and everything. And I think the lesson learned here is for us to work together and not let middle people kind of, be the go-between guy that's telling us what we're going to do. We make the...
Exactly. Exactly.
Go ahead.
And have a day, a time, and a place for the weigh-in at this time.
Agreed.
That's it. Perfect. Agreed. All right, guys.